All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachach for the spirit to do this lesson. Double honors to the elders and the apostles at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the men of the Lord. Prophesying, preaching, and teaching on the highways and byways in sincerity and in truth. Shalom, Barakatham. And I want to go in on this message that we see here from the Pope. I'll just title this, the Pope is playing his role for that day of the Lord. All right. Now we know that there is a false prophet spoken of in the book of Revelation, which we'll get here in a second. But that false prophet is none other than the Catholic Church. All right. Now the guy who's in charge of the Catholic Church today, this guy you see here, Pope Francis. All right. And if you know anything about the conquest of the Western Hemisphere, about the Roman Catholic Empire, all right, you'll know that they played a very wicked and central role in the deaths and conquering and enslavement of a lot of Israelites who are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. But we see here it says Pope calls for end to war, violence, and race for new weaponry and Easter message. So first of all, Easter is bullshit. It's not a high holy day in the scriptures. That word Easter, when you see it written in the New Testament, when you look up the Greek word behind it, it goes to Paschal, which is a Greek transliteration of the word Pesach, which means Passover. All right, so the English word Easter that was placed there maliciously is nonsense, and ultimately that's a different worship of a different deity for a different reason. All right, it's a worship of the fertility goddess, which is why you have the Easter bunny and eggs. All right, and I believe etymologically speaking, the word Easter goes back to Ishtar. If I brothers correct me if I'm wrong, but it's essentially it's idol worship, and they don't do it on the new moon. All right, they mean the new moon happened. I mean the Shabbat, which is 7 days after the new moon. It happened to be on a Friday this year, but they do it every Friday. They have something called Good Friday. That's neither here nor there. You see this demon here, he's from Argentina. And in every one of those Western countries, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Venezuela, they all have a Edomite, white, rich elite. Okay, that's why they still speak Spanish there. Okay, they're Edomites in every one of those nations, ensuring Jake is at the bottom. All right, and you native tribes, which is the majority of you, are still at the bottom. All right, and so this guy here, he's an Edomite. Okay, it says Pope Francis condemned the conflicts in Syria, Yemen, Libya, calling for an end to the clash of arms in his Easter message. In the address, Francis said it was scandalous that the armed conflicts have not ended and military arsenals are being strengthened. So here he is being a demon, trying to pretend like he's against violence, when violence is what the Catholic Church has been about since their inception. All right, their goal was to spread Catholicism, similar to how the Muslims spread Islam, through violence, and they did in the West. When Columbus showed up over here and all those other explorers, they were forcing it on our people with the sword. Okay, but see, he's playing a role to deceive you. This is Revelation 19 and 20. It says, doom of the beast and false prophet. Revelation 19 and 20 says, and the beast was taken, which the beast is the summary of the West, what's known today as the West, or NATO, the EU, America, including that whole alliance, right? It says, and with him the false prophet, which is the Catholic Church, definitely with the Pope and on down, that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had the mark of the beast. All right, so this guy's going to play a role in deceiving you. A lot of you Catholics, a lot of you Edomites are going to fall right into it, because when that thing gets rolled out, all right, he's going to play a central role in making sure you take it. All right. So the things that he say cannot be trusted for you Jakes that are in, especially you Northern Kingdom, which are heavily into Catholicism. It says, and them that worship his image, these both were cast alive into the lake of fire fire burning with brimstone. All right, and that's the thermonuclear destruction ultimately. That's over here in America. Okay, so that's the result of listening to these guys. You can't take what they say and think there's any type of truth in it. There's a limited amount of truth because there's a limited amount of truth that's required to tell a lie. But ultimately, what it is a lie. It's there to deceive you. You know, because this guy says, he says there are still too many wars and too much violence in the world. May the Lord, who is our peace, help us to overcome the mindset of war. Well, that's you. What does the scriptures say about you and your people? Now that you're pretending to be an Argentinian. It says, this is Psalms 55, and I'll start at 20. It says, he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. All right, and you did that with Gad. All right, and Reuben. You pretended to be at peace. All right, he had broken his covenant. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, and you do that still to this day, man. You claim you want to bring democracy, but really you're setting up a dummy government. You're setting up dictators. You're undermining their economy. You're only installing puppets in there that will play ball with America's agenda. And if they don't, you bring in the drones, you know? And that's his game, okay? That it says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So they talk a good game, they talk smooth, but then at the end of the day, they're plotting and preparing to destroy you, okay? So that's who we're dealing with, you know, and men of the elect, men who have the ability to get it, to understand, are not going to be fooled by this. Hell, even a lot of Edomites aren't fooled by this. But this guy is playing his role, stirring up nonsense for that great day. All right? Because they are the false prophet. All right? And even if you were to believe, you know, that America's going to take heed, well, America's not going to take heed. And this is proof because America is known in the scriptures as the whore, all right? The whore of Babylon. All right? And I'll read a little bit about the whore of Babylon and the nature of this woman, what's represented as a woman here, all right, which is America. Let's read what are some of the characteristics of this woman. This is America to a T, basically. This is Revelation 17:3. This is John the Revelator going in. He says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet colored beast full of names of blasphemy. All right. Now that woman, you can see it's separate than the beast. All right. And that scarlet colored beast is the beast that's been spoken about all throughout Revelation. And that's Esau, Edom as a whole, that whole NATO alliance, the EU, everybody that's confederate with them, even some of y'all in Saudi Arabia that's confederate, everybody that feeds the beast, that pays tribute to the beast. All right. Ultimately, it goes back to those seven kings, those 7 nations. All right. Which the Roman Empire of the Catholic Church played a heavy role in during the Renaissance era. But you can see the woman and the beast are different, right? It says full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. That's talking about that actual beast she's sitting on. It says, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. Now, purple represents royalty, man. That means if you got purple dye, it means usually it's a sign you have money, you have nobility. All right, and that's America. All right, America is known as one of the richest nations. in the world. They have the ability to do things, even though a lot of it's dead and bullshit. But the world believes it, and the world does trade with America like they have the money and resources. And America can do whatever they want. There's the highest quality of life here in America more than any other country, man. All right, and millions of people try to get here, try to immigrate over here for that very reason. It says it's clothed in purple and scarlet. All right, and I believe through the Spirit that scarlet represents the bloodshed, deception that America got its riches by. It says, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls. All right, so balling. It says having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. So this is a woman who's obviously very rich, balling, flashing, and is full of abominations and nonsense, and that's what you see in America from the very inception of this place. How they talked about freedom, all the while enslaving our people to build up their wealth. All right. How they talked about the pursuit of happiness while they did everything they could to take ours away. Abomination. And now you have, everything turned upside down. Gender is turned upside down. All right. Families are flipped upside down. There's no family. You can sleep with another man's woman. There's no consequences for it. So that's what America has become. And it says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. All right. And the mystery is that Babylon the Great is America. All right. It says, and I saw the woman. This is the key point here. And it says, and I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints. So there's none of these words that the Pope is saying. It's nothing you can tell a drunk man. Okay. All right. He's not coherent. He's not listening to you. He's on his path to do whatever his heart sets out to do. All right. America's drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. It says, and when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. All right. So this is not a drunk person is not somebody you can reason with and make quotes and say there are still too many wars and too much violence in the world. Well, you can't reason with a drunk person. America is on their path, and eventually they're about to have great wrath, and they're going to come down on you Jakes, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right? You're dealing with an unreasonable enemy. So for this false prophet to try to come out and say, we need to stop doing this, he's playing the role of a demon. Okay? And just how he's going to deceive you with the mark, he's going to deceive you with this rhetoric. It says, I'll read that again, Revelation 17:6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. And this pairs up perfectly with Habakkuk 2:5. It says, I'll start at 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. All right, and it's talking about the same whore, referred to as a he here, which ultimately is Esau Edom. More specifically, in Revelation, it's talking about the Americans. All right, it says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied. Drunk on the blood of the saints, just wilding out, man. It says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And that is the man that we're dealing with. All right. So the false prophet is playing his role here and lying to you, man. And I know, you Southern Kingdom, Jakes, Judah, Benjamin, y'all not as heavy, and Levi, y'all not as heavy into the Catholicism, but the Northern Kingdom Jakes are, man. And praying to Saint Peter and Mary is not it. When all hell breaks loose, man, you're gonna need Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. You're gonna need to do much better than that and be sincere and repentant when all hell breaks loose. Because we just described to you the characteristics of the whore, who's basically a drunk, and him in Habakkuk 2:5. All right, there's not enough prayer in the world if you're not repenting to the Most High, the Creator. That's gonna save you from this, So, with that, hopefully, our brothers were edified. Call halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachakodah, Shalom, Wa Abba.